Cool. 15 minutes in and out. And then I'll get the. I'm an addict called Ken. Thank you to the home group. Thanks to the Men's Recovery Conference. Nick, thank you for the invite to share. It's a privilege to represent Narcotics Anonymous. Let's see. Die in the light of exposure. When I got the request to say, hey, would you like to speak? It was around the end of August. And if you kind of are into the literature, I happened to look at the Just for Today meditation, August 28th. The light of exposure. These defects grow in the dark and die in the light of exposure. Basic text, page 32. Well, there's our topic. The fifth step asks us to share our true nature with God, with ourselves, and another human being. It doesn't encourage us to tell everyone every little secret. It doesn't ask us to disclose to the whole world every shameful or frightening thought we've ever had. Fifth step simply suggests our secrets cause us more harm than good when we keep them completely to ourselves. Whew. If we give in to our reluctance to reveal our true nature to even one human being, the secret side of our lives become more powerful. And when the secrets are in control, they drive a wedge between ourselves, our higher power, and the things we value most about our recovery. When we share our secret selves in confidence with at least another human being, our sponsor perhaps, or a close friend, this person usually doesn't reject us. We disclose ourselves to someone else and we are rewarded with their acceptance. And when this happens, we realize that honest sharing is not life-threatening. The secrets have lost their power over us. Just for today, I can disarm the secrets in my life by sharing them with one human being. Wow. I could really identify with what you shared. My earliest experience with the disease was fantasy and escape, and I didn't feel okay in my own skin. And that predated any substance. I just didn't feel okay. And I could never figure out, like, what was it? And so, I began my journey. And I was just this poor kid that wanted acceptance and attention, and I would do most anything to get that. What I came to realize is that the soil was really fertile for me to use. And the first time I ever used, I think I was 12, 13, and it was like, I have found what I'm looking for. Right? Where has this been all my life? Because I suddenly felt okay in my skin. And it was like the angst and the anxiety and the fear that controlled me, it wasn't there. It was like I could just go through life. Unfortunately, what I didn't understand was fast forward a few years later, now the tail's wagging the dog, right? I thought, I got this. How many times have we said that, right? I got this, I'm good. It wasn't so good. I also had some outward success and trappings, and I would try to pin them to me to prove to you or me or anybody, right? I'm okay. I'm okay. And on the inside, I'm like, I'm dying here. I'm dying. And I can't save myself. And I somehow was fortunate enough to graduate from college, and I was like the dumbest college grad in the world because I started using bad after I graduated. And this was like in the mid 80s. I'm old. And so like I started using, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just have a little bit of drink. And well, then it was like kick the doors open. Like anything that worked was good for me, right? If it's a substance and I can escape myself, let's have more of it. And that was my disease, and I didn't see it coming. I didn't recognize it. And it was about lack, right? I just lacked peace. I lacked hope. I lacked acceptance. And so I just was going to fill myself up with whatever I could to get rid of that lack. It didn't work so well. I had a really fast high bottom about 2.5 years in. I remember doing a 360 somewhere on like some road in Tennessee and not sure how I survived and didn't take out myself and others. And I'm pretty sure I was in a blackout. And the irony was that I was working at a psychiatric hospital. The inmates in charge of the asylum, right? Like, what was I doing? Yeah. And I dared say to my supervisor, I think I got a problem. I had no idea that was like the solution. I mean, that's what the reading talks about, right? Start to tell the truth to at least one human being, and you'll find your path. And so she's like, well, tell me more. And so I told her, and she's like, oh yeah, you need help. You're sick. Yeah. Those are the people we can really count on, right? The folks that will give us the unvarnished truth about exactly what we're doing, right? Like, yeah, you're really messed up, man. But there's a way out. So I ended up going to rehab in 1987 in Nashville. It was July 4th, no kidding, July 4th. I'm driving across Tennessee, and I can see all the fireworks, and I'm so resentful. I'm like, why? And I can imagine all of y'all are partying, and I'm not, and I'm going to rehab. And so I get there, and I'm not at all convinced. Like, I'm pretty sure I can figure my way out of this, right? I am a college graduate, by the way, right? Like that meant anything. But that's just a little glimpse into just how deeply self-centered and arrogant I was in thinking I could figure this out. And I couldn't figure it out. I had a secret, and I kept it closely guarded, and it just about killed me. Just to qualify, I come from a family of 6 generations of addicts. We've been able to track the genealogy. And like, I come from a lineage of people who have been ruled and ruined by addiction. Hands down, my greatest accomplishment in this life is that I die clean. Doesn't matter if I win a Nobel Prize, a gold medal, the Academy Award, the Powerball lottery, that shit don't matter. But if I die clean, that's an accomplishment. Because so many of us haven't, right? And not only to die clean, but to live a life of recovery, right? And all the benefits and the beauty that brings. For this addict, the real defect that I needed to pull into the light was dishonesty. I don't know about you. Reflect and consider for yourself. I heard the message when I was in rehab, and I saw some HNI folks that were in the program, and they carried the message, and they did a great job. And I was still kicking and whining and complaining about, this ain't fair, why me? Yeah, poor little Ken. Yeah, get over yourself, right? 6 months after I left rehab, I thought, I'm going to do some more R&D, right? I'm going to do some research. I'm going to see, can I, in fact, use in a controlled way? Well, you know the answer to that. No, of course I can't, right? Like, all I want is more, right? I want more of this, more of what you have, more of what I have, and it was not enough. And January 27th, 88 was my clean date. I said was because it's past tense. I went to some meetings. I heard the message in our predecessor fellowship, right? That's where I first heard the message. And I went to the program, and I worked steps. I got a sponsor. I went to meetings. I became involved in service. And it works. It works. Who knew, right? I had a college education, and I couldn't figure out how to not use drugs. And this simple 12-step recovery program, was going to teach me how to live a life and have a way to survive. I stepped away from it, right? And I heard somebody lead once in their share, and they talked about being an NA thief. And it hit me like an arrow. And it was like we come around and we get what we need and we fill our pockets and we're like, I'm good, I'm out. And I forget the secret that so many of my predecessors have lived by, which is we only keep what we have by giving it away, right? And I can't give it away out there because nobody out there wants what I got. But you all get it, right? Like I can't go to the local PTA and talk about, I'm a drug addict, right? They're like, get him the hell out of here, right? And I certainly can't talk about that in my career, right? Like they don't give licenses to people like me who say, I have a problem with drugs. They're like, next, move along. I didn't appreciate just how deeply the rabbit hole went. And somehow, some way, I thought, maybe if I get involved in service, I can find a route through this. I became an ordained minister. I worked in a church for 20 years. And I would show up and we would do a soup kitchen and a food pantry and, help out people that were on the margins. And I don't say that to brag. We were just really, really fortunate to be able to do what we did. But that was really my only effort in like trying to address the spiritual malady that I still kept carrying around, right? Like everywhere I go, there I am, right? And it doesn't matter how much I tell myself or how far I run, I still got the disease with me. I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to die with this disease. It's just a matter of will it be in the cage or will it be out? And you all have taught me, keep coming back. It works if you work it, right? And it doesn't if you don't, right? So it's unbelievable. After 25 years of having not used any chemicals, I was going through a divorce. I was moving into my own place. Pretty much my whole support system was stepping away from me. Because, like, I don't know about you all, but, like, the particular church people that I was around, like, that just wasn't real acceptable to them. And I was dismissed. And you can imagine, like, I was carrying a belly full of pain and fear, rejection, anger. And I had a bright idea. Perhaps you have too. Maybe I'll just have one. Yeah. I tried that again, right? Like I did more research. Fast forward all those years later. And what I discovered was one didn't work. It wasn't enough. And strangely enough, within 2.5 years, I was scraping my face on the pavement. I got arrested on vacation in Hilton Head, South Carolina for possession of meth. Thank God for the Beaufort County Sheriff's Department, right? Like they saved me when I couldn't save myself, right? They're like, you out. Yeah. And of course then I'm like 52. I'm terrified, tweaking my head off, trying to figure out, what am I going to do now? And I was in this holding cell. Perhaps I'm talking to some friends. And it's this mirror that's not a mirror. It's kind of like shiny metal, right? And I'm looking at my reflection. It really sucked, by the way. And I was like, how did I get here? And it was just as clear and as swift. You did this. You did this. And it was so simple and profound. And it was like, oh yeah, I did do this. So I called a friend who was really, really a friend, not in the fellowship. She was a licensed counselor. And I told her, I relapsed, I've been a liar, I've been using for almost 3 years, I need help. She's like, what? What? And I said, I'm a mess. I need help. And she's like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm on the road. I'm coming back from Hilton Head. She's like, do you need to go to rehab? I'm like, I don't lack knowledge. I lack application. Right? It's not like I didn't know, like, hey, if you use dope, you're going to die. Right? It wasn't like I didn't realize that was bad, but it was going to get bad. So what ended up happening is my friend said, what are you going to do? I'm going to go to 12-step recovery. So I did. My clean date's June 26th, 2015. And the secret that I lived with and nearly killed me was I was a gay man. And I wasn't okay. And I had no safe places or people or spaces to talk about that. And what I found is that we are the island of misfit toys, right? And everybody belongs. And I have found a home in NA, and it's saving my life. And what I've learned and what I continue to learn is when I'm feeling afraid, if I'll tell the truth to at least one person, I'll find relief. Thanks.